Trust me, most of them were not really enjoying. There by default the choice was the first. I said you don't need always the senior people, you need the right people. Process agility can bring only a small change in your organization. So I took a route of poach the coach. Hi, this is JPF from LeanWisdom. Welcome back to our Weekend Stories video series. So, if you remember, one of the stories that I shared in the past was connected to my successful transformation in China. Right? It was a great experience working with people. First time that I was working with Chinese in China. Right? It was a very interesting story. So this story is one of the sub stories of the Chinese transformation. Yeah. So what I did is I was working with one leader who was one of the leaders of this organization who was responsible for around 300-400 people. Yeah. So my responsibility was to transform these 300 plus people into Agile way of working, right? Lean Agile way of working. So I started working with this organization. So what I do is I typically first understand the ground reality, right? Where are they today? What are the struggles? Where they're stuck with in business agility, right? What does the customers feel about this? How they're struggling in terms of predictability, quality, all of this. So I have a way of doing things, and one of the things I do is I do interviews. Like I talk to a lot of people, leaders. So I start with the senior leader and then go down all the way and talk to many leaders. Like for example, the senior leader in the organization, and then the directors, and then senior managers, right? And I also go all the way to Scrum Masters, product owners, and I observe how the teams are functioning today, if they're already in Agile, and so on, right? So, one thing that suddenly came out very clear was that when I discussed with Scrum Masters who are already identified as Scrum Masters, they were super technical folks, right? They're senior leads, kind of very senior people, and they're technical leads, right? So all of them pretty much, right? And they are the senior most in the team. So I try to understand, is this by choice or is this by force, they have to take it? And I understood that it was like kind of by force that they had to pick this role. And I asked them, what do you do? How do you manage risks? How do you deal with the impediments? Right? To understand the servant leadership behavior of all these Scrum Masters. Trust me, most of them were not really enjoying. They're not the people who want to be a servant leader. They are super technical people. They want to sit and solve a technical problem, right? They're very good in a technical solution. But unfortunately, they were asked to do a Scrum Master job. It was a wrong fitment. So the question is, should I sit and solve a solid technical problem silently, sitting in a corner, or should I go around and see, hey, what is the support you need, right? What are the impediments you guys have, right? Helping the team. There by default the choice was the first. I want to sit and solve the technical problem. But they were kind of forced to do this. So they were not doing good. So this is one of the reasons why they are struggling. So when I understood, I went to this senior leader and said, what? One of the agreements that we need to make is change the Scrum Masters. Right? He was looking at me, but they are the senior people. I said, you don't need always the senior people. You need the right people for a Scrum Master role. Trust me, Scrum Master is not a project manager. Scrum Master is a behavioral attribute. Scrum Master is not a functional role. It's a behavioral attribute, right? Scrum Master need to kind of emit some kind of a energy, some kind of a servant leadership quality. Only then they can be a successful Scrum Master. So I spoke to this leader, and what I suggested was, I said, why don't you bring your next level leadership? Right? I want to give you a short workshop on the role clarity, right? The structural agility part of the Agile. So what's the role of Scrum Master, product owner, the teams, what kind of people we should have in each of these, and so on. And he agreed. He's a great leader, right? He agreed, and he brought all the next level leaders, some managers, senior managers, kind of people. So I had 10-15 people. So I did a workshop for 3 to 4 hours deep on how a structural agility can positively impact a transformation, right? My experience is Process agility, like for example, a sprint planning, backlog refinement, daily stand-up review, retrospective, or any of the practices. For example, code review, unit testing, functional test automation, and unit test automation, or CI/CD pipeline, whatever, right? Or technical debt, closing. All these are user story writing, story point estimation. All these are process agility items, right? It is outer layer. Process agility can bring only a small change in your organization. It's like a painkiller, right? When you start with the process agility, it will give you a kick. Yeah, I think something is changing, good, but it will not give you the wonderful result. Now you have to go a little deep. The second step, in my view, is structural agility. Structural agility is the role of Scrum Master, product owner, the cross-functional development team, the role of manager in transformation, the role of, if you have project managers, what's the role of project managers in the transformation? What's the role of a coach? What's the role of RTE? What's the role of product managers? What's the role of architects? If you don't define structure well and do only the process right, it will not give you results, right? So I took a very detailed session of the structural agility part. So I said, guys, we need to focus on structure. We need to get this right. And one of the critical roles in an agile transformation is Scrum Master, because they're supposed to be agile coaches, right? So, and they're supposed to be really good in agile and Scrum. So when I did this session, then some questions came. Then I wrote some behavioral attributes of Scrum Master from servant leadership point of view, right? We keep hearing servant leader multiple times. What's a servant leader? He's a person enthusiastic about helping resolve the impediments, right? Is he or she outspoken personality, very open, right? Very friendly, right? Very good listener, right? Is able to solve some of the team's problems, not by himself, but getting a solution, right? It needs a facilitation, right? Is he a person to make the team think, right? By coaching, asking right questions. And there are quite a few behaviors, right? And is he or she, this person, is he energetic? Is he passionate about doing this role, right? And when I listed this 10-15 points that a Scrum Master should have this behavior, then I asked the leaders, how many of your current Scrum Masters have these behaviors? There was a silence, right? And the leaders said, yeah, we don't have such attributes today. Okay, now it's time for us to change, right? It is not a punishment for existing Scrum Master, it's actually helping them. Because in my one-on-one discussions, when I ask them, if you're given a chance not to do a Scrum Master role, how do you feel? They're always saying, great, I really don't want to do this, but I don't have a choice. That means they're not happy doing it. And it's important to change and get the right person. So then we started doing this exercise, and I asked the managers to go figure out, every team identify one person who's not the current Scrum Master, but somebody who has this behavior. Then we took this activity, we did this for a week. Every manager and senior manager, director, they all went back, they figured out, and then they came back with a new set of lists. Then I had a quick discussion with all of these individually to these guys, right? And I had one group, a group of all these new Scrum Masters together. I had one session. When I said, guys, are you ready to take up this role? Because they were carefully identified based on a behavior, based on servant leadership quality, they were all enthusiastic. I'll tell you one story of this, right? Inside again. One of the Scrum Masters had only 2 years experience, right? So he personally came and asked me, GP, do you think I can be a Scrum Master because my experience is only 2 years, right? So this organization is very hierarchically structured, right? It's like, senior person says, the team listens. Now he's one of the junior people. He asked me, do you think I can do this job? I said, absolutely. You first believe that you can do, because you have all the attributes, man. You have the ability. Naturally you have that skill, right? And he kind of emitted that skill with me when I was talking. And he was enthusiastic. Now my job was to coach them. So I took a route of coach the coach, right? I'm the coach for this enterprise, and you are all the coaches. I kept on telling them multiple times, you are a coach, you are a coach, you are a coach. You need to make sure that you are one of the primary reasons for successful transformation. So when I kept on doing this multiple times, they started getting confidence. And I kept on coaching them. right? Throughout, right? So we could implement this, right, where the Scrum Masters were trained in depth on Agile, Scrum. In fact, we changed the role from Scrum Master to an Agile leader. We called this role as Agile leader. So you cannot be just Scrum Master. You should also know what is Agile. What does it mean? You should know process Agile. You should know practices Agile. You should know structural Agile. You should know cultural Agile. You should know business agility, right? You as a person should understand thoroughly what is Agile and go implement this in your team. So I did multiple sessions with them, right? Kept on talking, coaching, training, and mentoring. And at some point, we started seeing results. The team was happy because the new Scrum Master is enthusiastic. Like in the morning, I come to office, I see the Scrum Master sitting and looking at the board, cleaning up, and making sure ready for a daily stand-up, fully energetic. And the way he was conducting, first session when he was conducting, he was not confident. But when team started accepting him, because naturally he has that behavior, and I also started coaching him, they started believing. So the way he conducted all the sessions, sprint planning, daily stand-up, backlog refinement, review, retrospective, any of the sessions, the way he managed the backlog, the way he collaborated with product owner, the way he collaborated with product manager, architect, the way he collaborated with fellow Scrum Masters, I think everything went on so well. This guy with 2 years experience, he was one of the very good Scrum Masters, right? And when I did, I also do one more thing. After 2-3 months of transformation, I did an Agile transformation retrospective for the teams. When I did this retrospective, one of the very positive feedbacks came from team was, oh, we are far more Agile today than how we were in the past. And one of the reasons was this Scrum Master. And he was almost in tears, like we didn't expect that feedback will come from the team. And this feedback was given by the technical lead who was a Scrum Master before. Okay, do you understand? Right? It was an amazing thing, right? I'm still in touch with some of those Scrum Masters. They are so good, and they've changed the team's way of working. So, I want to share this story with you. I hope you have some learning. Please choose the right person for a Scrum Master. Right? Scrum Master is not functional role; it's a behavioral attribute. Yeah, it's a servant leadership role. So, for the leaders, please choose the right Scrum Master, and you will see a good change in an Agile transformation for your teams. Hope this video was good and it was helpful for you. Thanks for listening. Have a great weekend. Let's see you next week again. Bye-bye.